Coming up, I'm going to share with you the #1 mistake that app founders make when creating their first app and the simplest things that you need in your app to build a profitable MVP. Stay tuned. What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com, the place you go when you want action-packed content related to helping you grow your app downloads and, more importantly, those revenues. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm tired of developers coming to me with a perfect app or an amazing app, one that hasn't been in the market, and having so much difficulty with distribution. So I'm creating this video for those who are interested in creating an app, because with AI, it's getting so much easier to create things and harder to get distribution and downloads for them. So I'm going to break it down. Here are the simplest things that you need in your app to be profitable on day one. Let's get started. All right, here we go. #1, build one premium feature. Too many of you guys are making too many features that nobody uses. All I want you to do, you know why you built this app. So all I want you to do is create one premium feature. Do one thing really, really well. Don't forget, Facebook, now Meta, started out just as a social network for Harvard. No status updates. I don't even think they had photo sharing. None of this stuff. Uber started out as a black car in San Francisco where the founder was the driver. Every big brand that you know started off as a tiny little company, but you only have to focus on one premium feature. Solve one problem. Hopefully a problem that a lot of people have and a lot of people are willing to pay for, all right? Even if it's not a lot of people, a small group of people are willing to pay for, all right? Here's some apps that have done really well, and I'm going to link up the full breakdown in the YouTube description below, so check it out. But Migraine Buddy, all it does is track your migraines. The app, because of the distribution, and it ranks really well for migraine tracker that people do search for, is making approximately $55,000 a month, close to a 7-figure business. Really, really cool. Remote for Fire Stick and Fire TV. Here's another app. They rank #2 for Fire TV Remote. They're doing $80K. That's a 7-figure business by doing one thing really well, focusing on being a digital remote on your iPhone for Fire TV. All right, here's one of our apps, and I'm showing you the whole sales, okay? Those are big numbers. This is the whole sales. So for the lifetime of this app, this is one of our apps called Paraphrase AI. We've made over $27,000, and we're averaging about $3,000 in sales. Again, doing one thing really, really well that people are willing to pay for, all right? So you got the big examples and you got the small examples. This is how you get to profitability really fast. Let me tell you a little secret. Most people come to us with a fully built product that they think is so amazing. And no shade, I'm sure it is. But if you want to work with my team and our app portfolio team to build what I'm calling MVR, minimum viable revenue, right? We're going to help you. So rather than you telling us what to build, we're going to tell you, hey, we're going to try to build your minimum viable revenue within a limited budget. And so I'm opening the doors so that you can work one-on-one with my own app portfolio team. And if you're interested, just use the link in the YouTube description or check out appmasters.com. All right, now let's get into #2. Build a paywall during the onboarding process. Again, my team will help you do this, but most users buy during the onboarding process. All right, this is common knowledge, but if you're creating your first app, you might not know this. This is common knowledge for those in the app space. 60 to 80% of all the people who buy, they buy during the onboarding process. Yes, before they even use your app. All right, let me give you some examples. Here's the same app publisher for the Fire TV app. They have another app, the Universal TV Remote app, right? And here's their store listing. You open the app. Here's the first page. Here's the paywall. That's it. That's all they have. And the app makes over $375,000 according to app figures by doing a few things really well. Now, obviously, they have to support all these TV brands, Google, Roku, LG, Samsung, Fire TV, and so forth. But all they are is a TV remote. That's it. Distribution matters more than your features. All right? Distribution matters the most. In fact, I've seen app developers create one app for LG, one app for Samsung, one app for Roku, one app for Sony, and so forth. All right? I've seen their accounts. I won't put them on blast, but I've seen their accounts. They just focus on a specific brand. And when you look at their app developer profile, you'll see remote controls for all these different types of companies and brands, right? Here's from App Magic, one of our favorite tools to use. The sales for that app is about $200,000 a month, by the way, all right? So kudos to this craft work, guys. All right, next, and the most important thing instead of your features is distribution. Distribution matters so much. I'm going to break down the simple distribution path that you can use to start generating revenues for your app. Here it is. It's simple. Take a screenshot right now because this works. I do it with all my apps. I do it with a lot of client apps. I've seen apps making $500,000 a year purely relying on ASO and Apple ads, what used to be Apple search ads. That's it, okay? So just these two alone can get you very, very far. Just those two alone. Now, other people have said, obviously, organic social media that's going viral on social media, leading to those downloads. I'm not an expert in that, but we have a ton of videos on that if you guys want to check that out. And then other people have done lifetime free Reddit marketing. You don't need any of these 3 and 4. If you're an expert at 3, organic social media, go ahead and do that. But I'm an expert in 1 and 2. So that's what I'm going to focus on as well. And if you want more case studies of apps that have done really, really well using the distribution first mindset, I've got a video on that and I'll link that into the show notes as well so that you can check it out. But it really breaks down how using just a few of these variables, just a few channels in the early days can get you to profit right away. Whether it's just ASO, whether it's just Apple ads, whether it's organic social media, you can do wonders with just that. And so rather than you figuring out what next feature to build, think about what next distribution channel you should test, okay? If you're not an expert in any one of those things, I would then study that. Stop thinking about what new features you want to build and start thinking about what distribution channels you need to learn and execute and test on. That's what I would be doing, all right? Again, if you want access to our entire app portfolio team, amazing UX, UI folks, amazing developers. We have a couple of developers on our team, a couple of UI, UX developers, and we're going to help you decide what features to build along with the go-to market strategy. We're going to open this up to a few select people just to beta test this. If you're interested, use that link in the YouTube description and schedule a call with us. We'll help you figure it out. But what we're promising you is we're limiting you on the budget. We're not going to quote you. You'll have a limited budget that you can spend with us to get you to your first minimal viable revenue, right? Let's make that money first, then start building on top of that. I just showed you a few apps. I've got many more in our portfolio that are doing much better than a few of our clients who spent $30,000, $40,000 on an app. And I spent maybe a weekend building this app via my team, by the way, but now it's generating revenues. And so for us, it's about testing out different ideas and finding the right app that we can scale using a portfolio approach. But for you, I want you to not spend $30,000 on an app, on creating an app. I'd rather you spent that on possibly trying to grow that app versus creating it. Creating is easy. We're going to help you build the right app from the very start versus building your app and then coming to us where we have to change a lot from the paywall, from the onboarding, from the ASO, and so forth. It's just too much work for us. I was like, well, let's just do it from the very jump. Let's just help these app founders from the very beginning in making sure they build the right things the right way from the very start, and constrain their budget so they have a bit more budget for the marketing versus spending it all on the development. Backwards opinion. That's why we're opening it up. All right, check us out at masters.com, and I'll see you on the next video.